For the better part of the last 6 months to 10 months, it's been clear that there has been a problem with rainfall in the Horn of Africa. And so what are they going to do when their cattle are dying or their farms are drying up? There are hundreds of thousands of people in search of food and help. Of course, the only appropriate response to a food crisis is to make sure people have access to food. For decades, the kind of food that is used for these vulnerable people is called corn-soy blend. In spite of advances in nutritional science and increasing recognition of inadequacy of corn-soy blend to meet these vulnerable populations' needs, we are still seeing lots and lots of CSB being distributed. For the most vulnerable members of families, this typical food ration doesn't actually meet all of their needs. One of the initiatives that MSF is taking to add on a ready-to-use supplemental food. It's good quality food with a good quality protein. And it gives them all of the nutrients that they need to resist infection and to stay healthy. And so I saw this in action in Turkana. We're currently running a kind of program that I think shows the best of what MSF can do by combining its expertise in healthcare with a nutrition component. But in Somalia, it's an entirely different story. For the last 2 to 3 years, we see gradual deterioration of the nutritional status of children. The reality is that they're caught on the front lines of this war on terror. Nobody's been able to get in to actually find out where the problems are worst and see what we can do to help. And if we can't get assistance to them because of lack of access, then of course these people have no choice but to flee their land to Dadaab in search of help. Dadaab is the largest refugee camp in the world, literally the 3rd largest city in Kenya.
wadada aad ay dadku ugu soo rafaadeen jidkii la mari jiray lama maray ilmaha si ilaahay ugu ku imaaday oo dhib
ilmahayga waa ka soo tagay aniga keligeyga soo dhintay raftaantayga habeenba baa ka soo raacay guriga labada guriga ma dhisay markaas aan dhaayayna baa soo baxay يعني عندنا أفراد جبت يدفع قد أنت الشمال.
The situation of the Somali refugees arriving in the Dadaab camp in Kenya was very critical. We find out that 4 on 10 children were either moderately or severely malnourished. Basically, they were not receiving the appropriate food. They were receiving corn-soy blend, which we know is not appropriate. This emergency was quite visible.
Unfortunately, these food and nutrition crises seem to be occurring with even greater frequency. In 2010, in Niger, literally 7.5 million people were faced with severe food insecurity. But we were able to use these specially fortified, ready-to-use supplemental foods to protect them against malnutrition and the infectious diseases that so often kill. We've been able to reduce child mortality by half amongst children who do actually receive these high-value nutritional supplements. But because we have no international guidance as to what kinds of foods malnourished children should receive, we have to negotiate every single time with every single government to demonstrate the safety and the efficacy of these new food supplements. This only serves to delay the startup of life-saving programs, and unfortunately this was again the case this year in Dadaab. There are millions of children suffering from malnutrition today, out of view from journalists and TV cameras. Why should they have to wait to be caught up in the middle of a war or a food crisis in order to receive the kinds of high-value foods that will help them grow healthy and strong and reach their potential? What is it going to take for us to recognize that young children everywhere need good quality foods in order to pass these food crises in much better condition and much less likely to get sick and die?